Right, good evening children. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Right, in Facebook, in YouTube, can you hear me? And also the students who are in YouTube, I think you can hear me, right? Right, children, good evening all of you. Right, today we are going to learn first lesson of the grade 7 textbook. Right, the first lesson of the grade 7 book is symmetry. I think you have already go through the book and find out the lessons what you have to learn in first term, right? Right. So first lesson is symmetry. Right, okay children, there is some technical error happen, right? Okay, we'll move to the lesson symmetry, right? First, you have to identify in this lesson what is bilateral symmetry, right? For that you have to do an activity also, right? Here I have 3 figures. First one is a butterfly, right? Next one, there is a cake, and also there is a leaf. So we can separate these figures into 2 equal parts. We will see how we can separate those. right? First one we have a butterfly, so I can separate that one in two equal parts like this, right? Then we will see the cake what we have, right? That one also we can separate in two equal parts, and also this leaf, right? Again we can separate that one into two equal parts. Okay, I think now you have somewhat idea about bilateral symmetry. That means we have to separate a figure into two equal parts, right? We will see furthermore what we can say about the symmetry. Right? Many of the objects in the environment have the property that they can be divided into two equal parts. Not only the figures we have learned here, other things we can find in the environment. If we say human also, we can separate into two equal parts, no? Right? So, most of the things in the environment we can find out the bilateral symmetry. That means we can separate that one into two equal parts, right? Right? Now I have give some figures, right? You have to find how many symmetrical lines. Here, how many lines of symmetry does these figures have? So, you have to find out how many symmetrical lines these figures have. Right? First one, try to find. Right? First one, you have a heart shape. So, how many symmetrical lines you can draw? Here, we can separate this heart shape into only two equal parts, right? Like this way, you can separate this figure into two equal parts. We will see next figure, right? This one. This is a rectangle. So, how you can separate that one into two equal parts? Here, first way, I can separate this one this way, right? And also, other sides also I can separate into two equal parts, right? Like this, I can separate this one into two equal parts. So, you can identify how many symmetrical axes there. There are two symmetrical axes, right? We will see next one. Here. Now, I have star, right? Try to find the symmetrical axis. You have to draw in your book, then find how many symmetrical axes are there. Right. How many symmetrical axes? We'll see. Here I can draw one line in this way, then another one I can find this way, then another I can find like this, then also another one here, then how many? 5 symmetrical axes we can find out, right? We'll see next figure. Circle. In grade 6 also you have learned in first lesson about circle, so you can find out how many symmetrical axes find in circle. Try to draw. Okay, now we'll see. When we consider about circle, here how many symmetrical axes we can draw? Here this way I can draw. Then another one like this, then another one like this, another one like this way, like that. We can find out more symmetrical axes. If I try to draw some more like this, we can found so many symmetrical axes. So we can say for the circle, uncountable number of symmetrical axes are there, right? I think you have marked those in your books, right? Then shall we move to next part? Right? Now you have to note down this one, right? Rectangle, star and circle has more than one line that divides the figure into two parts which coincide. So you have to know a new word. What is that? Coincide. This one is new word for you. In Sinhala we are call that one coincide means සමපාත වෙනවා. ඔයාලා සිංහලෙන් අහලා ඇති සමපාත වෙනවා කියන වචනේ. Coincide means that. Right? So you have to note down this in your writing book. Now you have drew those 4 figures. Under that you have to note down this. Rectangle, star and circle has more than one line that divides the figure into two parts which coincide. Okay. I'll give you 2 minutes for you to note down that. Right? Then shall we move to the next part? Here there is an activity for you. Activity number 1. So you have to note down this one in your book and you have to paste the things what we are doing in your book. Right? Step number 1, trace this figure onto a paper and cut along the border of the figure. This is the figure you have to draw. This one. This is the figure you have to draw, right? So you have to cut out figure like this, then cut out this one, right? Then next one, step number 2, fold the figure so that you get 2 equal parts. So you have to fold this figure into 2 equal parts, right? Like this way you have to fold it. Then you can see all the 2 parts are coincide each other, right? Next step. Step number 3, draw a dotted line along the fold. Now paste the figure in your exercise book. So you have to do this activity in your book, right? Like this, you have to mark the fold line in dotted line and you have to paste that in your book. Okay? We'll see the activity again. First one, what you have to do, you have to trace the figure, this one, in a paper and you have to cut out that. Then what you have to do is, you have to fold that one into 2 equal parts. Then what you have to do, you have to mark that fold line in dotted line. Finally, you have to paste that one in your exercise book, right? We'll see next part, right? If a plane figure can be folded along a straight line. Now what we have done in that activity, so that you get 2 parts which coincide. Like this, we have fold this one along a straight line, then you get 2 equal parts, those are coincide with each other, right? Then that plane figure is defined as a bilateral symmetric plane figure. So if you are getting 2 coincide parts in any figure, so we can call that one as bilaterally symmetric plane figure. So you have to note down this one also in your writing book. If a plane figure can be folded along a straight line so that you get 2 parts which coincide, then that plane figure is defined as a bilaterally symmetric plane figure. Right? I'll give 2 minutes for you to note down that. Right, okay. Shall we move to the next part then? The line of folding is defined as an axis of symmetry of the figure. So, the dotted line what we have drew here, this one we called as axis of symmetry. So, what you have to do, when you are pasting this, you have mark this dotted line. So, you have to mark this dotted line as axis of symmetry or symmetrical axis, right? This one I will show you. This is the symmetrical axis, right? So, you have to name this one. axis of symmetry. Put an arrow and mark that one as axis of symmetry. Right? Right, next part. In a bilaterally symmetric figure, the two parts on either side of an axis of symmetry are of the same shape and of the same area. So, you have to identify that. Again, I will take this one. This is the figure what you have fold, right? You can identify this side and this side. Both sides have equal shape, and also you can identify the area which figure has also in same, right? So, in bilaterally symmetric figure, the two parts on either side of an axis of symmetry are of the same shape and of the same area. So, you have to note down this one also in your exercise book. I will give you 2 minutes for that. So, you have to memorize these things. You have to remember these things. When you have to find bilateral symmetric figures, those figures have same shape when you have folded, and also they have to have same areas, right? Next part. A line through a plane figure which divided it into two parts of the same shape and of the same area which do not coincide with each other is not an axis of symmetry of the figure. We will see that one. I have taken a rectangle like this, right? This is a rectangle. I have marked that one like this. So, this figure I can separate into two equal parts. You can see these two parts are equal in shape also, and the area also equal in the area also equal, right? But we will see when we fold this one along this line what happen, right? When we fold this one, look at here, right? What happen? Are these two sides are coincides with each other? Here, look at the other sides also. They not coincide with each other. So, you have to identify if a figure has same shape and same area, but you have to check whether again are they coincide with each other. That's not happen, right? Now, here in this figure that is not coincide with each other. So, you can't identify this one as a bilaterally symmetric figure. Okay. So, you have to note down this one also. A line through a plane figure which divides into two parts of the same shape and of the same area which do not coincide with each other is not an axis of symmetry of the figure. So, this one also, this line is not a symmetrical axis also, right. So, you can draw a rectangle and mark like this, and you can show this one. Finally, you have to note down these 2 lines. Right, we'll see next part. Right, there is another activity, right, that one also in your textbook also, right. So I will give this one as homework. Now you have one ready for that, no? That's right. Step 1, copy the figures given below on a piece of paper and cut out each lamina. So you have to cut out these figures. Here how many? 1, 2, sorry. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 figures are there. So you have to cut out those. That is easy for you if you are using square rule paper. Right. You have to cut out all those figures, and next step, find the bilaterally symmetric figures from the figures that were cut out. Right. Out of these 8 figures, you have to find the bilaterally symmetric figure by folding them, right. Then step number 3, draw all the axes of symmetry of the figures with bilateral symmetry. So you have to mark the symmetrical axes and you have to draw the symmetrical axes also. Right, finally, paste all the figures having axes of symmetry in your exercise book. Near each figure, write its number of axes of symmetry. Right. Finally, you have to find out the figures which have bilateral symmetry. Then you have to paste those in your book and you have to write the number of axes symmetry near the figure. Right. I think you can understand the activity, right. Then another homework for you, this one. Do the exercise 1.1 in pages 4 and 5 in your textbook. There are 3 questions I think. So you have to do those questions and you can join with me in next time, right. I think you can understand the lesson what I have done today. I have done bilateral symmetric part. There are another part in the lesson also, but I have done small part of the bilateral symmetric today, right. Next time you can join with me by doing these activities and also the exercise, right. So I'll explain the lesson symmetry, right. You can comment me what you have understand or not, the things I have to improve, all those things you can comment me, right. Finally, I'll introduce you before the lesson. I didn't introduce you about me, right. I am D.E.Dissanayake. I have 13 years experience in teaching, right. I am doing online classes for grades 6 to 11 and also physical classes in Gampaha in CISIP Institute. So you can share the message with your friends. They can also join with us in next time. So ask your friends to join with us in next time, right. Okay, then thank you for joining with me. Have a nice day.